This is Mirabella's Kitchen, and today I'm making French onion pork chops. If you'd like to cook with me, please check the description below for a list of the ingredients. And a shout out to my patrons, Dennis, Andrea, Daryl, and Melissa. Thanks, guys. I start by taking 2 large yellow onions and cutting them into slices. I take 3 large cloves of garlic and mince them. I'm using 4 boneless pork chops. These were actually really thick cuts. They were probably about 1/2 of an inch thick, and ideally 1/4 of an inch thick is better for this recipe. So I dry them really well. I season them with some garlic powder, freshly ground black pepper, and some coarse kosher salt on both sides. Into a heavy bottom skillet, I add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And then I add the onions in and let them cook down, become translucent and slightly browned. I added a little bit of oil because the pan was starting to burn, as well as the onions. I then remove them after about 5 to 10 minutes and put them on a separate plate. Into the same pan, I add in the pork chops, and I want to get a nice sear on them. So ideally you would turn up to a higher heat, but with enameled cast iron you have to be really careful to prevent ruining the enamel. So I just let it sit untouched on about medium heat for maybe about 4 minutes on each side. If they were thinner, it probably would have gone a bit faster. I don't want to cook them through all the way. I then add the onions back in, add about 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, add in 2 cups of beef broth, adding it slowly to let it start to thicken with the flour. I then add in about 1 to 2 teaspoons of gravy master. This is going to give it a nice rich flavor as well as give it a nice color. I then season the sauce with some freshly ground black pepper and coarse kosher salt. I have some rosemary that I'm going to chop up. It comes out to about 1 to 2 tablespoons worth. And I also have some Gruyere cheese that I'm trying to slice and not doing very well at. So I recommend, if your deli has Gruyere cheese, to just get it sliced there. I add in the pork chops, and I'm going to let them cook through and really soak up some of that sauce. So I'm going to cover them and do some temp checks. Because they were thick, it took long, so 1/4 of an inch thick should only take maybe 2 minutes. I then top with my mishmash Gruyere cheese slices and let that melt. Cover with some sauce and onions. Add a little bit of rosemary. Man down. I'm pairing it with some mashed potatoes, and you could do all of the same stuff with chicken instead, or steak. And that is my French onion pork chops. Thanks so much for joining me today. I make new videos on cooking every Thursday. Please support me on Patreon and on Facebook at Mirabella's Kitchen.